Alright. This is all about quadratics. And here's what two different quadratics look like. So they both look like a U shape. And what is this shape called? Y'all remember? Parabolas. Good. You'll write that down. So these are what the shape is, parabola, for each one. Now notice how this one's right side up, this one's upside down? Yes. That depends on what number is out front. So if your A is positive, that's when it's like this. If your A, so the first coefficient is negative, I don't know why that one isn't, it'll look like this, upside down. Yes. You pass that back for me. There we go. Alright, this is the standard form of a quadratic equation. I'm about to write it down and write this in here. It's f of x, a, and a is just the coefficient that's going to be out front. It just represents a number. Colby, Darren, y'all write this down, please. And in parentheses, it'll be x minus h squared plus k. And this is your center, so I'm going to bring this down. H and K are your center. So it's kind of like your X and Y of your parabola. And A cannot be 0. So the number out front can't be 0 because then it wouldn't be a quadratic. So this is standard form, which is what we're going to be looking at first. Quadratics in standard form. So we're going to graph them or sketch them by finding 4 characteristics. So the first characteristic is going to be whether it opens upward or downward. That means like does it open up or down, and that depends on your A. So again, if it's negative, and I want you to write this down, it's going to be down if A is negative. It's going to be up if A is positive. It's going to be up if A is positive, down if A is negative. After we determine that, we're going to find the vertex. And vertex is just a fancy word for the middle of your quadratic, the center. And that's going to be these two right here. But remember that x is a joker, so whatever h is, like if it's negative 2, the actual center is going to be at 2. Okay? So we're going to determine that. Then we're going to find x-intercepts by setting what to 0. This is just a fancy word for what? Y. And then we're going to find the y-intercepts by setting what to 0? X to 0. Good. And then we're going to plot all those points that we're going to find. Alright, so flip it over. All of these, you can tell A through D are in standard form. First step, again, let's find A. Is it positive or negative? Negative. It's out front. Negative signs. So is it going to open up or down? Down. It's going to be upside down. That was easy. Alright, can somebody tell me what the center is going to be? 1. What's the y value going to be? Just 4. So it's not on the inside with x, so it is just like you see it, a positive 4. That came from right here, 1, 4. Alright, 3, let's find the x-intercepts, or excuse me. No, remember x is a joker, so you do the opposite.
I know that. I thought you were going to put outside.
Nope, just looking at this. Alright, for number 3, I think it said to find the x-intercepts. So for x-intercept, you set what to 0? Yes. So instead of f of x, put 0 equals, and then don't change anything over here. Hey, Tristan. What's that? Nope. Okay. No, you're good. Alright, so this one was one like on your test. How do we solve for x right here?
Subtract 4.
Subtract 4. So again, I just move 4 to the other side. That's why it's negative. If there's a negative on this side, negative on this side, the negatives can just do what? Go away. So we have, I'm going to swap these. X minus 1 squared equals 4. And then we can just do what? What's easier? Yeah, square root of both sides. So the square root of this side is what?
X minus 1
equals 4.
Plus minus 2.
Yes, so it could equal positive 2 or negative 2.
Yeah.
So for here to solve for x, we just do what?
Subtract 1.
No.
I mean, add 1.
And you get x equals? And x equals
I can't see, bro.
negative 1. Alright. Now for y-intercepts, this one's easy. Because for y-intercept, you set what to 0? X. Okay. So just plug 0 in for x right here. So negative 0 minus 1 squared plus 4. So 0 minus 1 is what? Negative 1. Alright, what would we do first here? Exponents come first in order of operations. So what's negative 1 squared? Just 1. And what is negative 1 plus 4? 3. Good. I'm going to put y, because that was our y-intercept. Now we can graph all of these points. So, yes, go ahead.
Why did you use just x minus 1?
X minus 1.
When you plugged in?
Oh, because the square root of x minus 1 squared, all it does is take out that that exponent. You get what I'm saying? Okay. So first, let's graph 1, 4 on your graph. That's this point, 1, 4. 1, 4. And then when it says x equals 3 and negative 1, that's on your x-axis. So where x is 3, that's right here. Where x is negative 1, that's right here. Where y is 3, that's on your y-axis. And now you can see what your parabola is going to look like. It's going to start here at the center and go down this way. And aren't parabolas symmetric? So it's got to go down this way. That's it. So that's how this quadratic looks. Questions about that one? Let's do one more together. Do y'all want to go in order, or you want to do C or D?
Let's go C.
In order? Okay. So first, A is what in this problem? Positive or negative? Positive, very good. So it's going to open upward
Why is it positive?
because 2 is positive. Doesn't have a minus sign in front. Alright, what is the center, Amber? Very good. Everybody see where she got that from? So the negative 2 is just this. You just change the sign. The 1 just comes from here, negative 1. Alright, now to find our x-intercept, Colby, we set what to 0? Yes. 2x plus 2 squared minus 1 equals what? Yes. Alright, Michaela, what do I do from here? Good. So I'm going to leave this. Add the 1 over. Then what?
Well, can't you,
Let's divide it by 2 first. That way we get the x by itself. So it'd be x plus 2 squared equals 1/2, right? And now we can do what, Colby, like you were saying? Yes, square root both sides. So this one you can see is not going to be very pretty. Because what's the square root of 1/2? Some decimal, right? Go ahead and figure out what that decimal is, somebody. Let's type in square root of 1/2. What now? Because this x plus 2, in order to distribute it, you'd have to pull this out, then distribute the 2 to each one. What'd you get, Jalen?
I'm scared. Never mind. I want to say it.
Somebody just tell me square root. Thank
Wait.
you.
I got one.
Oh, wait, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh.
So it can either equal 0.25 or what? Negative 0.25, but yes, 1/4 also. Now let's solve for x. So when I subtract 2 from 0.25, tell me what that's going to give us.
Negative 2.5.
Is that correct?
Yes, but if you subtract. Wait, hold up.
Negative 1.75? Good.
Question.
Darian, I know you just not call anybody a dummy. It's really not funny.
Right.
Because,
No way out there.
never mind,
You
let
know
me
I
just
deal
drop
with
it.
that whole.
Alright, what's negative 0.25 minus 2? Somebody?
2.25.
Negative 2.25,
That's what I'm
good.
saying.
Alright, I want you to box those in because those are our x-intercepts.
But I thought it was negative 1.7 something.
Why
Oh.
would it be negative?
Wait, hold the front.
On this one,
Negative.
you got to subtract the 2 from here. Oh, where do we get this from? When we take the square root of 1/2, it can either be 0.25 or negative 0.25.
Question mark is because x plus 2 and you have x minus 2 square root.
Oh, no. This one, when you take the square root and it's under a radical, all it does is just cancel that exponent and the radical out. It still stays x plus 2. All right. Now to find the y-intercepts, so part D, we set what to 0? X. So it would be 2 times 0 plus 2 squared minus 1. All right. Katie, what do we do first here? Just think of order of operations. What comes first? Yes. So this would be what here? All right, Logan, what do we do next?
With a 4.
Good, by squaring it, right? So what is our y-intercept?
7.
Very good. All right, so now let's graph these points. The first point we'll graph is negative 2, negative 1. That's right here. I'll put a check mark by it. The next 2 points are going to be these. They're on our x-axis. So we have negative 1.75. 1.75 will be right about here. Negative 2.25, so right past negative 2. And then the y-intercept, we can't graph it because it's not on the graph, right? 7's way up here. But we have enough dots to go ahead and sketch this, right? So this is our center. We know it's going to go all the way up to 7, so really high. This one, same thing on this side. All right, any questions? Anything I need to go back over? And you can check these on your graphing calculator. If you're not sure, I'll show you how. But I want you to try C and D with your partner, with your group members.
We got this, bro.
Going down.
Is that right? Is that right?
There's going to be a pop.
You don't see. We'll find it. It can't be on the bottom. I was gonna ask you a question.
It's like there's not a that other variation.
What's your question, Jack?
I forgot how, like, wait, so, like, you gotta do research on all of them?
Yes.
So, like, all right, 1, 2, 3, over here?
There's going to
4.
be a
4.
5 to take the square root.
Yes, correct. So think about, that's your x-intercept, right? So would it touch your x-axis? Correct. Because these are all real numbers, so it doesn't touch it because it's talking about imaginary numbers.
So,
So find the right intersection.
I'm going to add 2 over there.
That makes sense.
Or the negative.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Wait, come on, do this one right over. That's that one right there. Okay, this is about wood.
Is it a decimal?
X-intercept?
Me too, bro. I won't go after I got. I won't know. I ain't gonna ask you that. I don't do either, bro. Me too. But you be asking for how you do it. Like, I don't know. Oh, because it's not right. I don't know what it is. I just feel like she's so like how everybody else gets like talk to her. That I was. I was on my dude. I tried.
I did try. Plugging in 0 for x.
You probably said the wrong thing. You would ask me what to say. Like I helped you. Like,
I'm telling you, it was like, I was like, not even asking her questions. Like, mama. That's all I was asking. She was looking at us like,
you asked me what to say, bro. You see what happened? You asked me what to say. You had two options, bro. I give you two.
Negative 4 minus negative 4 is not 0. So what?
this is going to be the same way.
It should be.
I guess
Actually, yes, it will be.
Yeah, I guess it's probably over.
1, 2,
No, this one won't be.
Or it would be negative 2 is equal to plus 3 squared.
No, this one will be. I'm sorry. Yep, because I both have a 1 9. So this one will cut your x-axis here.
center of 0.
Okay.
You're over 1, 2, down 4. So over here.
Yes. So what that means is that your x, this will not touch your x-axis. So these aren't real numbers.
That's okay. That's okay.
Maybe in college.
You don't like Snapchat nothing? You cut her off, bro.
Out there with what she said.
So she was straightforward with it.
Yeah.
That's okay. You don't want nobody playing no games. Have you ever thinking?
We're going to charge it.
Nothing like hop on, not like literally. Maybe you can try it, bro. Bro, who you guys know, bro? Whatever, bro. You gonna say that.
So I'm going to test the water.
You gonna say that, but then you gonna find you one, and you gonna be like, wow, that was cool. I probably should have found me. What is that? What is that?
9 plus 2.
You're too good. That's what I said. I don't wait for God to look at that shit, bro. I'm gonna I think I see you, bro. Came out of nowhere, bro.
I'm gonna start going over these. Alright, let's start going over these together. Alright, when I call on your group, if you one of y'all will just help me, okay? So Jalen, for the first one, is it opening up or down?
It's down.
And how do you know? It's negative. Good. It doesn't help if you don't know it.
I didn't graph it yet. I was still doing D.
Alright, number 2. Logan, what's the center?
-2, -2.
Good. Number 3. This is where y'all were getting tripped up with the x-intercepts. For x-intercepts, you set what to 0? You set what to 0? Y. And then y'all moved the 2 over, right? So this is where y'all are at. So we want to get these parentheses by itself, just like we did up here before we take the square root. So we need to get rid of the what? Negative by doing what? Dividing by -1. Good. That would make this what?
-2.
Good. And then you would do what? You would square root both sides, but y'all notice that this is what? Imaginary. What this means when you get imaginary numbers is that your parabola, your quadratic, will not ever touch the y-axis, because these are going to be imaginary numbers. So you can put beside here no x-intercepts. Alright, now moving on to y-intercepts, we set what to 0? X. So tell me what that would look like. Negative.
0 plus 2 squared.
Good. Alright, Kaya, what do we do first here? Yes, so that would give us 2 squared. Good. So -4 minus 2 is, yes, that's your what intercept? Y. So we can put that on our y-axis right here. Oops, my bad. Thank you. And then our center at what? -2, -2. And you can see if this is your center, it's going to go down from here, right? So this is your center. It opens down, so it'll look like this. Notice how it doesn't touch your x-axis. All right, now try number 4. Maybe that'll clear up some problems y'all are having. So once you see that this is taking the square root of negative, you can stop and put no x-intercepts.
Wait, what do you mean? Wait, how do you know there's no x-intercepts again? Can you say that?
There's a lie over here.
I don't know what you did.
I did. He did.
This is a
Yep.
negative. So when you have square root of a negative, it gives you imaginary numbers.
Oh yeah, I forgot. My bad.
If we notice that it's not going to work, we just write no.
No.
That's where, yeah, no x-intercept. Like, you don't even see just a graph.
Those like not undefinable, whatever it's called. Undefined. Those are my
These are just sketches.
Get out of here.
You go to college. You go to college.
Oh,
Where she goes to? Mississippi State's so freaking musty. It's freaking armpit. What's that?
These are just sketches. They're not perfect. Good job. Yes. So it's just a sketch. It's not really perfect. Draw it like it's going to hit 11.
Bro, I'm gonna drop out, bro.
Good.
Our high school?
Yes.
I hate when we go to
I'm going to no more.
Since it's 11 and not 6 right now, draw it a little bit steeper. Alright, do I need to go over this one? Yes, no? I'll just draw it quickly so you can just see a example of what it looks like. Again, these are sketches, so I know y'all are worried about the 11 with the y-intercept. It's just a sketch. It's not going to be perfect. Just make sure it's steep, like it's going to hit 11 eventually, okay? Alright, flip it over. Now we're going to do the same thing, but this time they're in a different form. They're not in standard form. They are in this form, ax squared plus bx plus c, which is fine. We just got to change up how we find the center, because you know you can't tell when you look at this what the center is. So the first thing we're going to do, still determining if it's upward or downward, that doesn't change. So this first one, is it up or down? Because of the negative. Alright, now for 2, the vertex again is a fancy word for the what? Middle. Good. To find the x-coordinate of the middle, you're using this formula, negative b over 2a. So what is your b in this one? Good. So it'd be positive 2 because of negative 2, correct? Over 2 times a, and what is a? So it'd be what on bottom?
I just got one. Oh, no.
It'd be 2 times negative 1, which is what? Thank you. So what is our x-coordinate? Alright. Again, that is just our x. I'm going to write an x above it. To find your y, you're just going to plug this in for your x value to find your y. So for part 3, it's going to look like this. Negative 1 squared. I'm just replacing x with negative 1. Minus 2 times negative 1 plus 1. Alright, Alyssa, what would I do first here if I'm trying to find out what this is? Okay, so that's going to make what? Positive 1, but with this it's still going to be good. Negative 1, we know this is going to make what? 2. So the 1, see how they'll cancel out? And we're going to be left with what? 2. So I want you to write your center as a coordinate point. What was our x?
Why do you want to cancel out for?
Because negative 1 plus 1 is 0. X is what, Colby? Yep, and y is That's our vertex, our center. Alright, questions about that part? Okay, now for C, we're going to find, or excuse me, number 4, we're going to find the x-intercepts by setting what to 0? Y. So it'd be negative x squared minus 2x plus 1 equals 0. How would we solve for x here? Anybody know? Factor. Good. Let's take this negative 1 out to make it easier. If I took a negative 1 out of everything, I would get what? Go ahead. Plus 2x minus 1. And now this is really easy to factor. Right? I think. Nope. Mark that out. Why can't we factor this one?
What about the quadratic one?
We can't use that. Because this negative 1, are there factors of negative 1 that are going to add together to give us 2? No, that's unfortunate. So we're going to have to use what? Quadratic formula. Alright. So starting with this.
I have a question.
Yes.
Why couldn't you just do x minus 1 times x minus 1?
Let's see. We had.
There's a negative x.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So negative b, that's going to be what? 2 plus or minus square root. B squared would give us what? 4 minus b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2a, which is going to be what? Negative 2. Sweet. Alright, so we'll have what in the middle? Or under the root? What's negative 4 times negative 1? Good. Plus 4? 8. Very good. Almost there. The square root of 8 is what? Somebody tell me what that would be. 2.2? Is that right? Oh, yeah. Go ahead and find the exact value. Square root of 8. These two negatives make a positive 4, so 4 plus 4 would give us that 8.
So 4 times 4?
Anybody? 2.8? Okay. So we'll do 2 plus 2.8 over negative 2. And again, 2.8 is the square root of 8. And 2 minus 2.2 over negative 2. 2.8. And then go ahead and figure out what each x is. Once you have one, just say it out loud so we can write it down. Negative 2.4, that's one of them. What's the other one? Positive 2.4? Everybody agree? Yes? Okay. So we just have to find one more thing. And that's our y-intercept. It's not right. Which one? 0.4? This? This one? It should be what? 0.4?
Is it negative 0.4 or
Alright, let's do it together. I'll show you. So 2 plus 2.8 gives us 4.8 divided by 2 negative. That would make negative 2.4. The next one, 2 minus 2.8 divided by negative 2 will give you 0.4.
Oh my God.
You just got the negative sign. Alright, now for the y-intercept, it's really easy on this one. Because if you set x to 0, what are you going to have left? If you set x to 0. Yeah, all these cancel out. You'll just have 1. Now we're ready to graph.
how do you feed it? Feed that for the input?
0, 0. All you have left is 1.
What was the intercept? It was
Negative 2.4 and 0.4. So now let's graph everything we just found. So first let's start with the center. Negative 1, 2. The next one we can do are the x-intercepts. One would be at negative 2.4. One would be at 0.4. And the y-intercept is at 1. Looks good. just so y'all know.
Miss Horton?
Yes,
Did Caden Kinnemer make it in?
he did not.
Thank you.
The B and C, you do not have to do all this junk to find your x-intercepts. They are easily factored. So try just B on your own. And the steps to what you need to find are just right here. Just go down the list. Try B. Once you get B correct and show me, you can pack up. And you don't have to do quadratic calculus. You'll be able to factor it easily.
Wait, finally you plug the x-intercept in.
You're thinking of the vertex. For y-intercept, you said what was your?
You got it like that.
Okay, so it should be one.
That's one.
And then perfect.
Still stupid. I hate losing weight.
Other stuff.
They're freaking this morning. Sick of it. No freaking news every day. For no freaking reason. Watch the same thing over and over again. And then tell someone 3 hours at home.
For a week.
I'm on 3 hours of film news.
All the time. Bro, I got like
Yeah, people that try to play, bro.
What?
Dynamic.
Oh, yeah, did you get this sheet before you go? Okay, so then the others are going. There's a few bonus questions on it, it's like it's in the last three. It's kidney, digestive system, and urinary system. Oh, what do we have to say? Oh, it's the questions like where and so you do that, you get what does nephromy, What body system is related to?
From there.
I think that's.
It's so hard not to slip up and say something, bro. It's so hard.
Didn't her sister did all the I heard she did the other No, I don't play.
I'm in that circle. That's my like best friends.
I've seen her sister.
Well, I already know. Hey, bro, you might as well sit that knee up right now.
Now there's just need to get her something.
What you doing over
I knew it.
Oh, wow. That's okay. People have a good personality.
That's not. I have a good personality.
Shoot your knee up. If you think you got like that, but shoot your knee up, bro. Go ahead, shoot. But take that chance, bro. Take that chance, bro. Wait, you go. It's all right.
Riley.
She told me, she was like, I would have all she was like, what do you think? Because Miles, I tried to bring Miles, but he was scary.
That's what you're saying.
Miles, he's gonna give up, bro.
Hey, that's a Michael beating him.
Not yet.
What you saying, bro?
I might be going if I go down the street.
Let me start recording and I'll come check it.
I'll tell okay,
Okay, so now,